Everything you've been taught about happiness, success, and love is rooted in illusion. Society has created a fantasy and sold it to you as truth, and without realizing it, you accepted it. You were told that happiness is the ultimate goal, that success is measured by money and status, and that love is the missing piece that will make you whole. But these are lies that keep you chasing shadows while the essence of life quietly slips away. Look around, we are more connected than ever. Yet people feel lonelier, more anxious, and more disconnected from themselves and each other. We have everything we thought we wanted, but something is still missing. That missing piece is truth. Not the soft, feel-good advice wrapped in positivity, but the hard truth, the kind that makes you uncomfortable and forces you to wake up. This message is not for the faint of heart. It is for those who are ready to stop pretending, who want to live with depth, purpose, and clarity. It's a call to question everything you've been taught and start building a life that's based on self-awareness, growth, and inner strength, not illusion. Your comfort zone is your coffin. You've been told that comfort is the goal, that a life free of stress, struggle, or challenge is ideal. But here's the raw truth: your comfort zone is your coffin. It's the quiet place where dreams die, where your potential slowly decays, and where the fire inside you is smothered by routine and fear. Think about how many times you've chosen what's safe over what's meaningful. How many jobs have you stayed in because they were predictable, even though they drained your spirit? How many relationships have you tolerated simply because they were familiar, even when they were toxic? How often have you avoided taking a risk because the unknown felt too frightening? Comfort whispers lies. It tells you that you've earned the right to relax, to avoid the hard stuff, to stay where it's warm and familiar. But what it doesn't tell you is that it's robbing you of growth, strength, and self-discovery. Comfort feels good in the moment, but it slowly kills your ambition and disconnects you from your true potential. Look at the people you admire: athletes, artists, entrepreneurs, leaders. Do you think they got where they are by staying comfortable? Absolutely not. They stepped into discomfort. They failed, struggled, and sacrificed. They embraced the hard path, not because it was easy, but because they knew it was the only path to greatness. When you avoid discomfort, you avoid the very experiences that build character and resilience. Every painful moment, every awkward conversation, every risk you take is shaping you into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable. Years ago, I found myself stuck in a job that paid well and gave me stability, but I dreaded every morning. I was slowly dying inside, yet I stayed for years because it was comfortable. One day I had enough. I quit without a backup plan, without knowing what was next. It was terrifying. But that fear was the catalyst I needed. The discomfort of uncertainty pushed me to rediscover who I was and what I truly wanted. I failed. I made mistakes. I doubted myself constantly, but each struggle taught me something valuable. Every setback made me tougher. And through that discomfort, I found a life that was meaningful and alive. If you want a life of depth and purpose, you must be willing to get uncomfortable. Take cold showers. Speak up even when your voice shakes. Learn new skills that challenge you. Travel alone. Do something every day that pushes you just beyond what you thought you could handle. Growth begins the moment your comfort ends. Each time you step beyond that soft edge of safety, you move closer to the person you were meant to become. You were not born to play it safe. You were born to evolve, to strive, to stretch. Your comfort zone may feel safe, but it is slowly burying you. Break free. Get uncomfortable. That's where life truly begins. Expectation is the root of misery. We all carry expectations. We expect our friends to always be there for us, our careers to unfold according to plan, our partners to fulfill our emotional needs in life, to reward us for our efforts. But here's a hard truth that many people avoid: expectation is the root of misery. Disappointment almost always comes from one place: an unmet expectation. You imagine something would go a certain way. You believe someone would act a certain way. And when that didn't happen, you felt hurt, frustrated, maybe even angry. This gap between what you expected and what actually occurred is where suffering lives. When you place rigid expectations on others, on yourself, or on the flow of life, you set yourself up for constant disappointment. Life is unpredictable. People are inconsistent. Circumstances shift without warning. No matter how much you plan or how good your intentions are, reality will sometimes defy your hopes. I learned this lesson through painful experience. For years, I had a vision of what my career was supposed to look like. I worked long hours. I made sacrifices. I expected my efforts to pay off in the form of promotions, recognition, and fulfillment, but things didn't unfold that way. Opportunities slipped away. Others were promoted before me. I felt defeated, angry, and betrayed. But the truth was simple. My expectations were the source of my pain, not the reality itself. It wasn't until I let go of those expectations that I began to feel peace. I stopped demanding that life meet my vision and started appreciating what was actually in front of me. I saw the beauty in the journey even when the destination looked different than I imagined. Lowering your expectations doesn't mean you settle. It means you become flexible. It means you stay open to life's surprises. It means you stop tying your happiness to things outside your control. You still strive. You still care. But you stop clinging. You let go of the illusion that the world owes you anything. This mindset shift is powerful. When you approach life without rigid demands, you become more resilient. You stop taking things personally. You begin to appreciate people as they are, instead of resenting them for not being who you wanted them to be. Let go of the need for others to behave a certain way. Let go of the idea that your path must unfold on a specific timeline. Accept what is, and you will find peace in the present. Release the grip of expectation, and life becomes lighter, clearer, and more fulfilling. Remember, this expectation creates tension, but acceptance brings freedom. If you want to protect your mental peace and emotional strength, begin by softening your expectations. Let reality surprise you, and you may discover that it's even more beautiful than you imagined. Friends are not forever. It is a difficult truth to accept, but one we all face eventually. Friends are not forever. We grow up believing that true friendship lasts a lifetime, that the people who walk beside us today will always be there tomorrow. But life teaches us something else. Friendships, like everything else, are impermanent. People change, circumstances shift, priorities evolve. Sometimes the people who once felt like family gradually drift away. And that is okay. It does not mean the connection was fake or meaningless. It simply means that the chapter has ended. Think back to your childhood friends or your high school crew. How many of them are still a meaningful part of your life? Most likely only a few, or maybe none at all. As you change, the people who surround you often change too. This isn't something to mourn. It is something to accept with grace. We often put pressure on ourselves and others to maintain friendships exactly as they were, clinging to the idea that real friends never leave. But this expectation leads to pain. When we recognize that friendships are fluid, we can begin to appreciate them for what they are in the moment, rather than trying to force them into permanence. I once had a best friend in college. We were inseparable, sharing dreams, fears, and countless hours of conversation. But after graduation, life took us in different directions. He moved away, started a family, and our paths slowly diverged. At first, I felt a deep sense of loss, as if something vital had been taken from me. But with time, I realized the friendship had served its purpose. It was beautiful while it lasted. Its end did not erase its value. So how do we handle the impermanence of friendships? Start by being fully present with the people in your life. Enjoy the laughter, the support, and the shared memories. Understand that each connection serves a role in your journey. When a friendship fades, do not see it as a failure. See it as a transition, making space for something new. Focus on the quality of your relationships, not the quantity. You do not need a crowd to feel supported. One or two meaningful connections can be more powerful than a dozen shallow ones. And most importantly, become your own best friend. Build a relationship with yourself that is rooted in trust, honesty, and care. You are the one person who will be with you through every stage of life. Invest in that bond. Friendships come and go, and that is the natural rhythm of life. When you accept this, you free yourself from clinging and disappointment. You begin to see people as beautiful parts of your journey, not permanent fixtures. Let friendships flow in and out of your life. Celebrate them for what they are. Mourn them when they end, but never let the fear of loss stop you from connecting deeply. Friends are not forever, but the lessons they leave behind are. Sacrifice is essential. In a world that constantly encourages comfort and convenience, the idea of sacrifice can feel outdated. But here's the truth: nothing meaningful in life comes without sacrifice. If you want something truly valuable, you have to give something up. It is not punishment. It is the price of purpose. Think about the most meaningful achievements in your life. Did they come easily, or did they demand something from you? Whether it was time, energy, money, or comfort, the path to anything worthwhile always comes with a cost. Sacrifice is not about suffering. It is about choosing to let go of what matters less in order to gain what matters more. It is about prioritizing your future over your momentary ease. Every time you make a meaningful sacrifice, you are investing in your own growth and fulfillment. I remember a point in my life when I had a comfortable job, a decent salary, and a predictable routine. On the surface, everything seemed fine. But deep down, I felt empty. I had a passion for writing a voice I wanted to share with the world. Following that calling meant quitting the security I had built. It meant walking into uncertainty with no safety net. It was one of the hardest choices I ever made. I sacrificed financial stability, social expectations, and the illusion of control. But what I gained in return was far greater freedom, meaning and alignment with who I truly am. The struggles that followed taught me discipline. The failures built resilience. And through it all, I realized that sacrifice is not about what you lose. It is about what you make room for. So how do you apply the power of sacrifice to your own life? Start by identifying what you truly want. Not what looks good on paper, not what other people expect, but what ignites your soul. Once you are clear on that, ask yourself, what am I willing to give up to get there? It might be late nights of mindless scrolling. It might be weekends spent partying. It might be comfort, ease, or old habits that no longer serve you. If you want to get in shape, you may need to sacrifice junk food and lazy mornings. If you want to build a business, you may have to sacrifice temporary pleasures and face countless setbacks. If you want meaningful relationships, you might need to sacrifice your pride and learn to be vulnerable. Sacrifice is not deprivation. It is refinement. It is the process of cutting away what is less important so that what is essential can grow. Every meaningful life is built on a foundation of intentional sacrifice. Remember this, what you are willing to sacrifice reveals what you truly value. The pain of sacrifice is temporary, but the reward is lasting. Embrace it with purpose, and you will unlock doors that comfort could never open. Sacrifice is not the end. It is the beginning of everything that matters. Stop chasing love. We are constantly told that love is something we need to find, pursue, and chase. Movies, books, and social media fill our minds with the idea that without romantic love, we are incomplete. But here is the uncomfortable truth. Stop chasing love. Love is not something you hunt down. It finds you when you are busy living your best, most authentic life. Think about the times you have actively chased love. How many of those experiences left you feeling fulfilled? And how many left you frustrated, disappointed, or emotionally drained? The harder you search, the more elusive love becomes. That is because true love does not respond to desperation. It responds to self-contentment. When we chase love, we often compromise our values. We settle for less than we deserve. We try to become what others want us to be instead of standing firmly in who we are. In the process, we lose sight of ourselves, hoping someone else will complete the picture. But you were never meant to be half of a whole. You were meant to be whole on your own. I have been there. I once believed that finding love would fill the emptiness I felt inside. I went on dates, tried to be charming, and worked hard to impress. But no matter how much effort I gave, it always ended the same: disconnected, unfulfilled, and emotionally tired. It was only when I stopped trying to find love and started focusing on myself that everything changed. I began to invest in my personal growth. I pursued passions that excited me. I surrounded myself with positive people who inspired me to rise. I built a life that I loved waking up to. And in that space, without searching, without pretending, love came naturally. It was not forced. It did not feel like a chase. It felt like peace. So how do you stop chasing love and start attracting it? Start by loving yourself, not in a shallow surface level way, but with genuine care and respect. Take time to heal from your past. Explore your interests. Set goals that matter to you. Create a life so full and rich that love becomes the icing on an already beautiful cake. Focus on building real human connections. Be present. Be open. Engage with people who share your values and passions. Let love develop naturally without pressure or urgency. Love is not something you schedule or control. It is something you allow. Remember, this love is not a trophy to win. It is a gift that arrives when you least expect it, often when you are not looking at all. The more you chase it, the more it slips away. But when you live authentically, when you love yourself fully, you become magnetic. You attract love not through pursuit, but through presence. Stop chasing love. Start living. and trust that the right love will meet you where you are whole, happy, and already enough. The majority is often wrong. We live in a world where conformity is rewarded and standing out is often met with resistance. From a young age, we are taught to follow the crowd, to trust in what most people believe, and to go along with popular opinions. But here is the truth: just because the majority believes something does not make it right. In fact, the majority is often wrong. History is full of examples. At one point, most people believed the earth was flat. The majority supported injustices like slavery, segregation, and countless other oppressive systems. Popular opinion is not a reliable measure of truth. It is often shaped by fear, ignorance, and the desire for comfort. Why do so many people follow the crowd? Because it feels safe. It is easier to blend in than to stand alone. It is more comfortable to agree than to challenge what is widely accepted. But real wisdom, real freedom comes from thinking for yourself. It comes from questioning, from seeking truth even when it is unpopular, and from having the courage to stand apart when necessary. I learned this early in life. I was the one who asked questions that made others uncomfortable. I was labeled difficult, rebellious, even arrogant, but I could not shake the feeling that many of the so-called truths around me did not make sense. The more I challenged what was normal, the more I discovered that most people were simply repeating what they had been taught without thinking for themselves. That realization changed everything. I stopped blindly following. I began reading from diverse sources, listening to different perspectives, and learning how to form my own opinions. And in doing so, I found my voice. I found clarity. I found confidence rooted in truth, not in popular approval. So how can you live this principle in your own life? Start by educating yourself. Read widely. Do not rely on a single news outlet, social media feed, or group of friends for all your understanding. Think critically about what you hear and see. Ask yourself, does this make sense? Who benefits from this belief being widespread? Is there real evidence behind it? Be willing to question even the ideas you were raised with. Be open to changing your mind when new information appears. That is not weakness, it is maturity. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to think, not just those who agree with you. Respect different viewpoints, but do not be afraid to hold your ground when your reasoning is sound. Most of all, be courageous. The world does not need more followers. It needs thinkers, seekers, and those brave enough to ask, is this really true? Remember, this popular does not mean correct. The crowd may be loud, but that does not make them wise. The majority is often wrong. Choose to live by truth, not trends. Think for yourself, and you will discover a deeper kind of freedom, the kind that cannot be taken from you. Patience is power. In today's world, everything is designed to happen fast. We want instant results, immediate responses, and overnight success. But the truth is, the most valuable things in life take time. Patience is not weakness. Patience is power. We have been conditioned to believe that waiting means wasting, that if we are not moving at full speed, we are falling behind. But nature tells a different story. Trees do not grow overnight. Rivers take centuries to shape valleys. The most beautiful, lasting creations require time to form. So does personal growth, healing, and true success. When we lack patience, we often sabotage our own progress. We give up on relationships because they do not give us instant gratification. We abandon goals when results do not show quickly enough. We quit too soon because we mistake progress for perfection. In doing so, we miss out on the rewards that only persistence can bring. I once believed that if something didn't happen fast, it wasn't meant to be. I rushed through projects, pressured outcomes, and grew frustrated when life didn't move on my timeline. But every time I forced the process, I ended up further from where I wanted to be. It wasn't until I learned to slow down, to trust the process, and to commit to the long game that real transformation began. Patience is not passive, it is an act of strength. It is the ability to stay grounded when nothing seems to be working. It is the choice to keep showing up even when the rewards are not immediate. It is the quiet confidence that tells you, keep going. Your time will come. So how can you develop patience in your life? Start by setting realistic expectations. Understand that meaningful goals take time to achieve. There is no shortcut to mastery, no elevator to growth. Be willing to take the stairs one step at a time. Practice mindfulness. Stay present in each moment rather than constantly jumping ahead to the next. When you are fully engaged in the process, the need for instant results fades. Be kind to yourself. Personal development is not a race. There will be setbacks, mistakes, and days when nothing goes as planned. Instead of criticizing yourself, learn from those moments. Patience with yourself is just as vital as patience with others and with life. Celebrate small wins. Every bit of progress matters. The journey is made up of thousands of tiny steps. Honor each one. And remember, patience is not about waiting for something to happen. It is about how you behave while you wait. It is about staying committed, staying focused, and staying true to your path even when there is no immediate payoff. In a world obsessed with speed, patience gives you power. It allows you to move with intention, to act with wisdom, and to grow without pressure. Trust that what is meant for you will come in time. Keep going, be still, be strong. Patience is power. Use it wisely. If there's one thing you should take from all of this, it's that the life you want won't come from chasing illusions or following the crowd. It starts by facing hard truths and applying them with courage. Step out of your comfort zone because real growth begins where comfort ends. Whether it's switching careers, ending a toxic relationship, or speaking up when it's uncomfortable, discomfort is your teacher. Let go of unrealistic expectations, both of others and yourself. Life won't unfold according to your perfect plan, and that's okay. Accepting what is rather than clinging to what should be brings peace. Understand that friendships like seasons change. Don't cling, instead cherish what was and embrace what's next. Be willing to sacrifice temporary pleasure for long-term fulfillment. That might mean less free time now in exchange for building a stronger future. Stop chasing love. Focus on becoming someone who lives with purpose, and love will find you naturally. Question the herd. Think for yourself. The majority often follows trends, not truth. Lastly, embrace patience. The things that matter take time, your goals, healing, growth, and relationships. Trust the process. These lessons are not just philosophy, they are practical tools to live a stronger, wiser, more meaningful life. Use them. Apply them. Begin today.